Well, I paused up AEW Revolution to record this video, and before we get underway, I wanted to say it's extraordinarily tough trying to watch hockey and professional wrestling at the exact same time. Keeping up with both of the commentary, keeping up with both of the crowds, and trying to put both of my eyes onto both of the screens at the same time, it was much more challenging than I thought it would be, and in general, I think I can only really focus on one thing at a time in order to actually get the full effect of what's going on. But darn, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega just tore the house down. If that's not a 6-star match by Dave Meltzer, I don't know what would be. But let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks game, because that is exactly why you clicked on this video. And in particular, let's talk about... let's talk about Thatcher Demko. Because this Vancouver Canucks game against the Leafs was really interesting. And it was interesting for me, particularly because I am a Canucks fan and a Leafs fan. My favorite teams go Canucks, Habs, and then you have the Red Wings in there, and then it goes the Leafs. But as a guy who follows both of these teams, and a guy who pays attention to both of these teams and their situations, it was very interesting to see the aligning of the storylines here in this game thus far. The biggest one, to me, for the Vancouver Canucks was Thatcher Demko, a guy who started off this road trip on a really bad note. 2 quick goals against the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canucks eventually did win that game in overtime, but those early stinkers were kind of the ones that people were starting to identify as the narrative. We had those stinkers against the Ottawa Senators too, where the Canucks lost and Bobby Ryan got a hat trick to the second worst team in the league. That one didn't feel great at all. But it was those early, quick stinker goals that Thatcher Demko had allowed that people were painting as the narrative. Is he ready? Is he able to lead this team as a starter? Is he the guy to go with on this road trip? But the Vancouver Canucks are playing again tomorrow in Columbus, and I have absolutely no doubt that Louis Domingue is going to be the guy who starts there. Because this one, the Vancouver Canucks let up 2 quick goals against the Leafs today. 4 shots, 2 quick goals. Thatcher Demko really didn't look great to start this one off. And it starts off of a play with Frederik Gauthier, who is a guy who comes in. There are a few bounces here and there, and he's the guy who scores. He has it, it's really far away, and he just throws it underneath the arm of Demko. It's a minor screen. It's one that you don't really want to give up as a goalie. And that was the quick start for Toronto, and Canucks Twitter was just going ballistic. Yo, what the heck is this? Another quick goal against to start off this game. Vancouver, what are you doing? Thatcher Demko, oh my goodness. And I won't lie, I did kind of say the same thing myself. But the Vancouver Canucks quickly tied things up. 3 minutes later, it's Tyler Motte who, after a really nice little tic-tac-toe play from Beagle and Sutter, is able to score on the far side into an open net pretty much. So it was 1-1 early on, but then a minute later, Auston Matthews gives the Leafs the lead. And I believe this is Toronto's 4th shot on the game. Matthews takes it. He's coming in so far out to the left side. He's pretty much at the half wall. Then he throws it to the goal. Demko is stationary. He's hugging the post. It looks like he's got a good, solid wall over there. But then the puck bounces out to the side. And I think, okay, he saved that. But then no, the referee's got the goal hand motion going on, and the goal light comes on, and I'm like, wait, that one went in? Demko doesn't move, he doesn't think it went in. Then we look at the replay, and it squeaks through, I believe it was the 5-hole. Demko, man, you gotta get that one. And you could see him fearfully looking at the bench afterwards. It was like 2 goals and 4 shots. You could see the terror in his eyes, the trepidation, the potential of getting pulled within the first 6 minutes of a game in Toronto. That idea definitely did loom out there in the air. But at the same time, Demko was allowed to remain in. it was kind of weird, because every save that Demko made afterwards, he looked really shaky, and he looked so unconfident and just completely rattled that every shot almost had a big rebound. Every opportunity had Demko scrambling to try to regain his footing. And I will give the benefit of the doubt, because after the media timeout, after the TV timeout, there were reports that it was Stetcher, it was Domingue, it was these other guys on the team who were trying to calm him down. Just give him the pep talk, tell your goalie that he's doing a good job. It's not on him. He is the guy that they're relying on and that he can be better. So, eventually Demko does come out later in the game. He does make a few confident glove saves. He makes a few pad saves here and there. And overall, he does somewhat improve as the game goes on. We also should mention that Tanner Pearson tied the game up before the first was over. A really nice play out in front. It's Edler, it's Horvat with the assist. Pearson is able to shoot it off of the mask of Anderson and in. So it's 2-2 at the second period start, and it stays 2-2 up until the third period. The third period is where Martin Marincin gets a goal 18 seconds in. Are you kidding me? He takes a shot, it goes off the bar. Demko is so out of position because he was trying to make the save, which he didn't. It ricochets back out in front, and Marincin has pretty much an open net to score at. That one was one where Demko was at fault because A, he didn't stop the initial shot, and B, he completely put himself out of position for that one. But obviously, I'm not going to be the one who blames everything on a goaltender. You could talk about the back checks from the other Canucks. You could talk about, the face-offs and what they did after the face-offs. Things like that do happen. But I will say that Demko does need to be better. Because Demko did indeed let in 3 goals that were kind of stinkers in this one. And they were the difference here. Jacob Markstrom is a guy who, in my opinion, would have had those. And he's been playing so well that I have no doubt in my mind that if he was faced with that, a big rebound off a bar and then a big shot after that, or a really far out wide angle opportunity from Matthews, I think Markstrom would have saved those. Demko is in a position where he is still young. The guy's 24, he's not supposed to be an established NHLer yet, but the fact that we have a Demko who has had this bad stretch, it doesn't feel good. Definitely doesn't feel good. But we know he's going to get better as time goes on, but this recent stretch has not been the best. So I'm willing to see Louis Domingue in a Canucks uniform tomorrow, willing to see him actually play, and see him actually try to escape the first period without 2 goals against in the first 7 minutes, because this same thing has happened with Demko the past 3 games, and that is not a good pattern to keep up. The Canucks eventually did lose this one because there was no other goal scored. It was a 4-2 game, and this one doesn't feel great at all. The Flames did lose against the Bolts today, yes, but the Oilers do play later today, and the Vancouver Canucks could be in a position where their playoff hopes will diminish if everything goes right for the Oilers, etc., by the end of tonight. So Demko is in a weird spot. He's forced to being the starter. I think everybody who was on the trade Markstrom train because, quote-unquote, Demko is ready to be our starter full-time, yeah, I think those kinds of people have kind of stopped talking for now, because Demko has had a rough stretch, but at the same time, I will say that I do 100% with my whole heart believe that Demko will be the starter, the number 1, and the goalie to take us to the promised land when Pettersson, Hughes, Podkolzin, and Besser are all back and in their primes. That is what I believe thoroughly. That is what I believe. I don't think it's going to be Markstrom who carries us to the promised land, but Demko's got a few more years before that happens. It's just that now, at 24 years old, as a guy who is only playing his first full season as a pro NHLer, it's been a really rough stretch. So, Toronto, you guys got your 2 points. Must feel good winning on a Saturday night in your own building and not actually getting completely destroyed by a Zamboni driver. Yeah, I'm not going to let that one go. But I'm a Leafs fan too, so it hurts me inside to say things like that. But at the same time, it feels good to see them win. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to go back to watching AEW Revolution. Hopefully the main events haven't gotten on yet. Social That Trust 99. And Bye.